Federal lawmaker representing Nokpe, Sapele, and Uvie Federal Constituency of Delta State, Honorable Etanebene Benedict, has condemned the recent defections from opposition parties to the ruling party, describing it as an abuse of the Constitution. While speaking during an exclusive interview in his office, Honorable Benedict expressed concerns over the current trend of defection among lawmakers, despite the clear provisions of the Constitution.
Of course, this is not the first time I'm talking on this matter. I did make my arguments on the floor, of the House. If you go to the archives, you will see that I had argued that matter out. It is not a sin to defect. It is not a sin. Anybody can defect from one party, to another. But the Constitution that governs all of us made it clear, that if you do this act, and you don't meet this requirement, you must vacate your seat, on the floor, of the House. You cannot defect from one party to another party when the conditions established for defection, is not met, or you just cook up whatever reasons, that you think, it's okay by you to describe that you have a division in your party when indeed, it is not like that. Then you now cross over, to another party. What the Constitution envisaged, or directs is that you must leave your seat and go home, and INEC will be notified, and another by-election, is done. Look, let me tell you, I don't know what is happening in this country. When we make laws, we develop the energy to violate the same law, that we have made. There's this good reason for which laws are made. Now, instead of progressing along that line to make it better, effective, implement it very well, we now begin to do everything we can, to destroy the very law, that we've spent so much energy, to make. Look, this certificate, when you win an election to an office of the House of Representatives, a certificate of return is issued to you by INEC. In that certificate of return, it is contained your name, your federal constituency, and your political party. These are the ingredients, in that certificate. Now, when you defect from party A to party B, do you go back to INEC to remove that your party and put this new one? No. It tells you that you are not the owner of that seat. It is the party that is the owner of that seat. So all this jamboree, people do, by coming to the floor of the House to declare, and the party that is receiving you will be clapping, and celebrating as if we are sharing stolen loot, It's not good. It's not good. That is not the eye of democracy. That is not what the framers of our Constitution, wanted us, to do. But today, we are abusing.
Honorable Benedict lamented that opposition lawmakers are struggling to be heard in the National Assembly in their effort to hold the ruling party accountable. He stated that the opposition are vocal on various issues affecting Nigerians, but their voices are often drawn out by majority parties' numerical strength.
You see, it's unfortunate that the happenings in the House is not reported, in the real sense, the way it happens. In constitutional democracy, you have the majority, that have their way, but minority have their say. It happens everywhere, It's not a surprise, phenomenon, in our political space. But my fear is the more people gravitate towards the ruling party, they tend to emasculate, the few that are remaining in opposition. Opposition is working, is doing its best in this National Assembly that I belong. But outside, you see every pressman, paint everybody with the same brush, that they are all the same, and there's no opposition there. It's a rubber stamp. Who says so? Who says so? We have been on our toes arguing issues, but you will not hear. A few days ago, they said if a Nigerian does not vote, he goes, they will be given a 6 months imprisonment or so. People argued against it, But at the end of the day, the majority people in the majority party, they will always toe one side. And when they do that, it's not because, they see the reasoning in what they are talking about, but because of party solidarity. That is what they want. No, there's no issue since 2023 that has been confronted, that has confronted Nigerians, that opposition has not talked about it. On the floor, when the president said subsidy is removed, some of us stood up and we talked against it. When they talked about policy as against labor, some of us stood up, we talked against it. When they talked on minimum wage, some of us stood up, we talked against it. When they talked about people defecting now, we stood up, we talked against it. Even the proclamation, don't think the drama you saw on that day, there's a build up to it. We were against it to some extent. Of course, that was why, the compromise brought me to make that amendment. From where I come from, Warri, instead of the Malu to run, to the bush, cut the one you can cut. I insisted that we will not abuse the Constitution to the extent that we will not even say that the Federal Executive Council, should oversight the sole administrator when it is expressly provided in the Constitution. And the president saw, reason for that, and that was given. So there's opposition every day, and will continue in the House. The problem, is that the ruling party people, there are too many, and they are not giving room, to oppositions, to talk.
He further emphasized the importance of opposition in democratic system, noting that Nigeria's system is designed to stiffen opposition rather than encourage it, and called for a more inclusive approach to governance.
But again, why this is dangerous for democracy is that it is good to always have second opinion. If I'm in a ruling party today, I will even trigger opinion from opposition so that you will see the other side, from the people. It will help you to even do better. But if everybody is telling you, you are doing well, you are doing well, you are doing well, and your mandate will stand, or your mandate will stand, you will not be seeing, the dangers, of your poor performance, in other areas. Let opposition people speak.
Honorable Benedict's stance on defection and importance of opposition highlights the need for more robust and inclusive democratic system in Nigeria.